Hey everyone, how you guys doing, huh? So I thought I would do a little stock talk. This is not financial advice, just kind of giving you some of my opinions here. That's about it. Just kind of talking, sharing with you my goals, what I'm kind of doing, and yeah. Anyway, just personal opinions here, just some thoughts. So I think I've kind of redefined everything. So I was looking, you know, um, for me, if I was thinking, what is my goal, right, for 2026? So I think my goal would be to bring in $2,000 per month in dividends. So with dividends and growth, some of these are growth stocks mixed with a little dividend, but some of them are just dividend play. And so the stock may lose some money, but you get it back in the dividends. So at least that's my understanding of how it works. Like I said, not financial advice, just kind of playing around here. Um, but so I picked $30,000. I figure, right, if you take $30,000, if I build something for myself to keep an eye on and to have perfect timing to buy in for 2026, and the best of what I would need to do to bring in $2,000 a month, and then I can then reevaluate that. And if I'm not up to 30,000 and I only have 3,000, then I'll bring in $200 a month, right? So you can really just kind of adjust, or for me, I can adjust, whether I want to invest 3,000 or 30,000 or 300,000. I'm just going to either minus a zero or add a zero onto the $30,000 marker that I'm doing. So it's just easier for me to gauge. If I want $20,000 a month, $300,000. If I want 2,000, it's 30, and 200 is 3,000. So when I was looking over this list, I've taken away some and added some. So the first one I have is ABBV. So that's ABV. ADV. Anyway, it looks to me like it's going around $227 a share, but its dividend is 3%. And so I'm kind of liking this. It seemed like this is going to be a good one. I personally just kind of feel it's a quarterly dividend. I don't necessarily like quarterly, but it does have growth years of 53 years. And it's got a payout ratio of 503%, meaning they pay out very regularly. It's had a dividend growth of 5.7%, and the ex-dividend date for the next dividend is January 16th. So I'm going to want to buy whatever shares I want before January 16th is my thought. And it looks like it's going to pay $1.73, and they'll pay out in February, and that's $1.73 per share. So I probably won't, want to do much, but just five. If I buy like 5 shares, and like I said, I think it's a small percentage, but I think it's got some good growth, and it's I personally think it's a solid stock. AES, this one's pretty good. I'm liking AES. This one is a 12 years of growth. It pays quarterly. Dividend growth is 2%. And it looks like it's doing about 17 cents per share. And it's at $13.92 right now. But I think that's going to be a good one. And then Barrick Mining, they're really for gold. And AES, I'll probably do like 30 shares. Barrick Mining. So 10 shares of Barrick Mining. They're, I think, at $39 a share, $40 a share today. And they're only like 1.8% dividend. It's more of the gold. So they're a mining company. And I kind of just think that's a good, solid investment for gold. I think it's more of a stable thing. It keeps your portfolio stable. For me personally, it's just my personal thoughts. And next one is Coin, which is off Coinbase. So they have Connie, which is the Yield Max ETF, and it is ticker CONY. and it's at $4.68 right now. And so this one, I kind of like it. I think if the crypto goes up, it's a weekly. I do like the weekly dividends, and the dividend yield is like 182%. I mean, it's paying. I think the last one was 6 cents for last week per share. These ETFs are more, they're more, I think they just pay out more in the dividend. I don't think you're going to see much growth, but I think in this case you might see some growth, because I think January through July of 26, I think we're going to see a lot with crypto. So I think it's a little unique that I think some of these ETFs, even though they're more of a risky play, and you get more of your capital through your growth through your dividend and not through the stock, where the stock, I mean, this, I think like 6 months ago was like $12 or $15. I mean, I don't remember what it was, but I mean, it was up there, right? It was up quite high. I mean, here a month ago, it was at $6.49. A year ago, it was at $18. So it does tell you, I mean, it's down quite a bit. But I think there's a lot of room then for it to go up, is my thought. And so that's on CONY. And again, it's not financial advice, just my thought. I was thinking 1,000 shares, right? So it's $4.68. But if it's paying out, even if it stays at the 6 cents per share, if you have 1,000 of them, it's $60 a week, right? So over a year, that's $3,120. So to me, that's not bad. I think, off of a $4,700 investment. So that right there shows it's not even 100%, right? But in the past, it was paying, and so their dividends show a little higher than what they actually are. You need to figure that stuff out, is what I learned. It's not advice, but it's just what I've learned for what I'm doing. I like to figure it out myself to see what it's actually doing. But I'm figuring 1,000 shares of CONY. And then Chevron, CVX. Chevron, I probably would do like 5 shares. I kind of like Chevron. It's got 38 years of growth, 4.9% dividend growth. The payout ratio is a little low. It's only 96%, but it's at $150 a share right now. And it looks like it's quarterly payout, and it's $1.70. So I think, I think it's a good, I personally like it. I think 5 shares would do. Another one along those lines is Johnson & Johnson, which is JNJ. It's a little higher. It's $207 right now per share. But I think, Johnson & Johnson's, this is 63 years, growth years, and growth of 4.6%. It's a lower payout, right? It's only 50%, which is a much lower payout, but it's paying $1.30 quarterly per share, and it's at 200. I think Johnson & Johnson is pretty solid. I think that's good. I'm thinking 3 shares. I like Macy's, which is ticker symbol M, like Mary, M, and I figure 15 shares. It's at 22.86. I don't know. I think it's got 3 years of growth. It's not really as much. A dividend growth of 5% quarterly, 18 cents a share. But I think Macy's will probably do well. They've been around for a long time, so I don't know. I kind of like Macy's. And then these are probably a little bit more riskier, but I think this is where it's the same as the Yield Max CONY, but I think these are where a lot of the returns come in. So I've got MRNY. So MRNY. I like to call it Marnie. It's off of the mRNA, which is, I believe, the drug company, pharmaceutical company. It pays weekly, and it's like 2 cents. It's only at $1.48 right now, but the dividend's like 2 cents. So I'm figuring maybe 1,000 shares. That way you're getting like $2 a week from it. Anyway, Microsoft. I really like Microsoft. And I think Microsoft to me would be good for the as an investment, and that's MSFT, I think it is. I think that's what Microsoft is. Anyway, I like Microsoft, and I also like Microsoft, I think, for their dividend. And so let me just see what their yield max. So the yield max for Microsoft is MSFO. MSFO. It's at $15.94 per share, and it's weekly, and they look like they're paying about 9-10 cents. This last week was 16 cents. And then I like that, and so I'd probably pick up like 100 shares of that. And MSTY. So MSTY is off of the MSTR, which is another crypto play, and it's weekly, and I think they're like 15 cents per share dividend, and it's at like $6.96 a share. But it also is pretty much down, so I think I would try to do like 1,000 shares of that. Like I said, maybe a little bit more riskier, but I think that's where a lot of the high dividends. So my thought really is, right, if you bring in the high dividends and then reinvest some of that into these other ones that are very strong, therefore by the end of 2026, you've got your high dividends have gone up, and if you make quite a bit of profit, right, because of the crypto, between maybe January through July, so maybe by the end of July, I would get out of these MSTY, CONY, these ones that are more in the crypto area, and get rid of them, because if it's at $6 or $5, and if it doubles that and goes back up to $12 or even $18, right, you're at 1,000 shares. I mean, what the heck? Sell the thing, you make your money there. Plus you made those dividends during that time. So, and then put that money back into these stronger ones. So that would be the goal, would be to eventually 2026 or the 2027, 2028 to really be in some pretty strong ones that are just really going. But so to use these higher paying ones to get things going. And if you want to use some of the money too, if you're bringing in $2,000 a month, maybe you want to get $1,000 a month back and reinvest $1,000. But my next one is Murphy Oil, MUR. So MUR, Murphy Oil. I'd probably want to pick up like 10 of them. They're at like $30, I think, or $31 per share. Murphy Oil, I don't know, it's only at 3 years of growth, or 3 years growth years, and dividend growth of 8%, quarterly payout. But it's like 32 cents a share. So that's not bad. It's $31.50 right now. I kind of like that. I think that, Murphy Oil has the energy, I believe. Anyway, Nike, NKE. So Nike is NKE. I'd probably pick up 5 shares at $64.81. I think Nike's going to do well. I do, but they're only doing a 2%, 23 years of growth, 6% dividend growth. And they're at like 40 cents a share as quarterly. It's, I think, a good stock personally. But Pepsi, that's another one, $150 a share. I'd pick up 3 of them. And so Pepsi is PEP. So that's PEP for Pepsi. And I like Pepsi. I think Pepsi is another one that shows some good growth. It's 53 years of growth at 5.49%. So I think that's pretty good. It's $1.40. It pays quarterly, and it's at 148. So I like that. Procter and Gamble, which is PG, which is Procter and Gamble. I'd probably pick up 3 of them, and they're $148 per share right now. And again, it's 69 years of growth, 5% growth, dividend growth. They're like $1 a share for the dividend. It's quarterly. I think these are just solid ones to be in. Next one is SCHD, Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity Fund. Probably pick up 10 of them. $27.50, and that is SCHD. And this one, it's 3% dividend quarterly. I don't know, it's 26 cents a share. Everybody seems to like it. I'm kind of like, I can either go with it or not go with it, but I threw it in my mix for what the heck, maybe 10 shares. And then next one is self-storage, SELF. Self, SELF, global storage. They're at $5. So probably pick up maybe like 60 shares. I don't know. This one's at 5.6% quarterly. It's been paying like 7 cents a share. I kind of, I don't know. I kind of like it for some reason. I like it because I don't know if it'll be like make a ton of money off it. I think 60 shares. Heck, maybe I'll even dump this over to 100. I think I'll change this to 100. Why not just do an easy 100, right? I think people always have to store stuff, which is always amazing to me, right? They'll turn around and they'll have something and they'll store it, and it'll be like a bunch of furniture that's maybe worth, you know, $500 or $1,000 worth of stuff in there, right? And they'll pay $100 a month, which is $1,200 a year. Anyway, to me, hey, if people need storage, it seems like they're always building them, they're always needing them. It's just a personal thing. None of this is financial advice, but I kind of think, why not self-storage? So I upped that up to 100. The next one was one of those yield max, which is SMCY. SMCY. And that's off of the SMCI, which is the technology company, kind of like NVIDIA. And so they're paying weekly, and it's paying about 20 cents a share weekly. And so they're like $9.36 right now. I just kind of like, I think I would probably pick up like 500 since it's a $9-10 stock, and that's like a $6,000 investment or $5,000 investment. So I'd probably pick up 500 shares. And then Target, TGT, Target, TGT. Target, I think with the holiday season is going to do good. I don't know what they'll be like after that, but they've got 54 years of growth at 1.8% growth, and they're paying a 5% dividend. And it's a dollar 14 quarterly payout. I don't know. It just seems like I think they're a good dividend thing. So I like Target. So I'll probably do 10 of them. And then the last one I have is ULTY. ULTY. It's also a yield max. I'd put down 1,000 of them, 1,000 shares. It's a weekly dividend. It's paying about 5-6 cents per share weekly. It's at $4 or $3.98, $4 a share, but it's weekly and it's one of the yield max. And so I'd probably do that. And so doing this here would put us at 30,285. So 30,285. But it says here, the website that I go to, it says the average dividend is $19.85, with the highest being $21.97 and the lowest being $17.22. So, you're looking at $2,000 on the average. So, that's pretty good, I think. $2,000 a month coming in. Your first year, you're going to have 24,000, so you're only down $6,000. So, as long as you can keep those dividends going for 2026, it seems to me that you'd probably get your money back with growth. You'd probably have that other 6,000. So I think within like 15 months, you could get 100% of your money back doing this. And like I say, if you invest that back in to some of these really ones, any of the ones you see that are consistently strong out of my list that I see, I'm going to then put some of those dividends back in. But if you did nothing, if you got 30 grand just to let it sit, right? And you do that, we're in 25, end of 25, the 26, the 27, the 28. Let's go 29. So this time of 2029 before 2030, you're looking at turning that $30,000 into $298,800. If the dividends continued and you just reinvest those dividends, that's what this website's showing the future portfolio would be worth, which would be bringing in an annual income of $140,000. So are they going to continue? I don't know. But if you said to yourself, it seems plausible to me, my opinion, not advice, but I mean, what do you think? I mean, I think if you go 25 to 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, so the end of 30, it says that you'd be looking at a $450,000 value. But let's just cut that in half. Let's just say you only do half of those dividends. You're still looking at $225,000, and it's saying an annual income of $195,000, but let's just cut it down to $100,000. I mean, so let's just see what this would be. If you're looking at 100,000, that's like $8,300 a month. But let's just cut this down to like 8,000 times 12. So let's just say you're at 96. I mean, let's just say that you've cut this down, right? So you're looking at half, a little less than half. So even if you're only doing like 45, 48% of whatever these dividends are showing, in 5 years, you could put $30,000 away, is what I'm thinking. And 5 years from now, I could then retire, and I'm going to probably have about $8,000 a month coming in. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but maybe you're making $8,000 a month, and even with taxes, let's just say that's $6,000. I mean, come on, you should be able to retire pretty nicely at 6,000, and eventually you're going to have Social Security. You're going to be back up to 8. So it seems to me like you'd have a pretty decent retirement. And if you build whatever your list is, I mean, this is just me showing you generational wealth and, saying that this is what could be, right? And so it's not financial advice. It's just showing you that you could build your own list and do some research. And it is out there, and you can start with 3,000 or 30,000, whatever. You could start with $300, right? And you're going to get $20 a month coming in. But I just think, and instead of, having 8,000, you're going to have, $800 a month in 5 years. But it's just the point that you can start this off. I mean, you could really, retire within a short period of time if you really, if you're looking at this and you're like, oh man, the cryptos go up, and then you sell the like Connie and MSTY, and you sell them in July or August, you will have made that money, and you put it in the, Chevron, Johnson Johnson, Macy's, whatever these ends up being, Pepsi, Nike. I think Coca-Cola is a good one too, but I haven't quite put it on the list yet. But I might add Coca-Cola is KO. So I don't know if you want to check out KO, but I might end up adding them. But everybody swears by Coke. They just say it's 63 years of growth with a 5% dividend growth. It's only 2.8%, and they're at like $73 a share. And they're paying out like 50 cents per share quarterly. But it's a strong one, right? So if you're buying into these things and finding ones that you like, and listening to different people's opinions and putting them together and redoing your research and finding what you like, it is very plausible that you can build this generational wealth, that you could turn around and say, this is what I need. This is my timeline. How long will this take? And then take a little bit of risk. I've got a lot of strong stocks that are more growth than dividend, so they're not probably as much of a risk. But then I've got some that are really high risk, like those yield max, so that I could bring that in. And my thought is, for the yield max ones, I would put half of it in my pocket, and the other half of those dividends I would put into the stronger stocks. And the stronger stocks, I would take the dividends and just reinvest them. So I'm getting a little bit of my money. So maybe by the end of 27, 20, probably 28, right? If I go all of 26, all of 27, and 28, I should then have my original investment back doing this. And I should have a really nice portfolio. And then by the end of 29, letting whatever that portfolio is, reinvest it and grow it by not taking anything. Then the end of 29, whatever that portfolio and those dividends are, I will have gotten my 30,000 back, is what my goal was. And therefore, whatever I'm bringing in is just pure profit. I mean, think about it. That's just crazy, right? And then if you add a little bit of real estate or any kind of investment that's more solid to that, you're doing pretty good. But yeah, this is just generational wealth if you're starting off with not much and you're looking to do this. And so that's where I'm at with this. And I hope you guys had a good time. And I hope this gave you guys some kind of information on how you can build your own list for your generational wealth so that you can change and maybe even change your children or your grandchildren the way they think and how they invest. Boy, if someone had done that for me, if anybody had said to me when I was younger, when I was 16 years old, heck, I was 14, I was 12 years old, 11 years old or something like that, going door to door selling candles. And I would take the money and go spend it on candy. I'm not saying take that away from a kid, but if someone had said to me, look, you take 20%, or 30% or whatever of money I had, and if they had gotten me into these dividends and seeing the results, by the time that I was probably 25 or 30, I would have only be working because I wanted to, not because I had to. That's freedom. That is a huge generational change. So I don't know what kind of family you're from wealth-wise, but it starts with you. It starts with you. I'm very serious. Like, you cannot ask anyone else to change. And if you continue doing what you're doing, nothing will ever change. If you, doesn't matter how much money you have or how little amount of money, if you don't stop and say, hey, I can take this money and have it work for me and make money for me, and I can use that part of that money to help me monthly and use the other part to reinvest, to build up so that I keep getting more and more money, so that eventually one day you can have freedom to do what it is you want. You are the one that has to make that choice, and you're the one that's going to have to make that change in yourself. And if you do that, others will see that you've changed. Others will be like, I want to do that. Show me how. That's what this generational wealth is about. It's about changing you, and others will see that you've changed. And it doesn't matter if you start off with $300. It doesn't matter if you start off with 3,000, 30,000, or 300,000. You can see a difference. And when you see that difference, then you're going to say, wait, do I really need this new upgraded phone? Maybe I can wait another year, and that money I would have been paying every month for the phone, I could be using that to buy a stock. Speaking of phones, there was one, I keep coming back to T-Mobile. Or not T-Mobile, I'm sorry, not AT&T. AT&T is see, they had a buyback. I think that's what throws me out there. Quarterly stock, they only pay like 27 cents. It's at $26. Dividend growth says none. I keeps popping up like I should be looking at it, but Verizon's had 20 years of growth with a dividend growth of 1.8%. They did have a buyback in their quarterly, but the buyback was small, and they're at $40 a share, and it's 6.75 dividend percentage, and they've been paying quarterly 67 cents per share. So Verizon seems pretty good, but AT&T, I don't know why that keeps coming back. It doesn't really look as good, in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Do you think AT&T or Verizon? AT&T is T, ticker symbol T, and Verizon is ticker symbol VZ. VZ. And then there's Coca-Cola, which is KO. So Coca-Cola. So that's your homework. Can you advise me or give me your opinion, since this is not any kind of financial advice? Can you give me your opinion? What do you like, ticker symbol T, which is AT&T, or do you like ticker symbol VZ, which is Verizon, or KO, which is Coca-Cola? Should I go ahead and add those, do you think, to my list? Like, what do you think? Because those are three that kind of keep popping up for me, but I just haven't really, Anyways, tell me what you think. Thanks a lot for listening.